What's up, y'all? It is Thursday, November 14th, 2025. Today I will do what others won't so I can accomplish what others can't. So tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't. All right, go ahead and pause the screen, get this in there, and then we're moving on. Boom. Just as a reminder, we are having a journal check tomorrow. Again, we are having a journal check tomorrow, so make sure that you are ready to rock and roll for that, okay? Make sure to get your agenda up to date, okay? Cool. Write this down big. Again, write this down big. We already talked about this yesterday, but again, pause the screen, write this down big in your journal. So turn to the next empty journal page and then turn it landscape, right? And then go ahead and write this big, make it fill up the whole page. Today I will do what others won't, so other people won't do the work. Other people won't be on task. Other people won't get to class on time. So tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't. So that means I am going to be on honor roll and honor society. I am going to be learning everything that I need to be learning so I can be prepared for high school. Like that's where we're at. Right? So again, today you're gonna be willing to do what others won't, so tomorrow you can accomplish what others can't. Just like Mr. Farr, I was really tired last night. I got home, my washer broke and I had to get all the water out of that. It was a whole situation. However, after that I was tired. So then I laid down and I remembered, oh, there's this goal I have for myself by the end of the year so that I can set myself up to do some things into next year. So I'm like, okay, then today I'm going to go ahead and do what others won't. Because most people would just lay down and just chill. But I'm like, nah, let me go get this done, handle the business. So I went and worked on that stuff for about an hour or so. And then, because I'm like, I know there will come a tomorrow where I will be able to do what others wish they could be doing because I handled business today. So handle that. All right, y'all, pause the screen if you still need more time. Okay, let's just review these real quick. Remember, the independent variable, that's the thing that you can change. It's also graphed on the x-axis. That's, again, the thing that you get to change. Yesterday we were talking about a car. They were able to change the pressure and the tires of the car, right? So they could select that. Okay, also a responding variable. This is the variable that you measure. This is where the data comes out of your actual experiment. So let's just take this one, right? Like, how high can this ball bounce, right? Depending on the pressure. So will more pressure make this ball bounce higher, right? So I can control how much pressure I select to put inside the ball. And then the thing that I'm going to measure is how high does this ball bounce, right? That's what I'm going to measure. I won't know that, right? And again, then the control variables would be a myriad of things, right? So, let's just talk about this here, and just remember, control variables are variables that remain constant for accurate results. So let's just run through this scenario that we just talked about right here. Boom. All right, so if there is more pressure in the ball, will it bounce higher? So I can pump in as much air as I want into this ball, right? So my independent variable would be the air pressure of the ball. So how much air pressure I put in here, that's my independent variable. So I can put a lot or a little. I can put 10 or 15 or 20 or whatever the case is, right? Now my dependent variable would be how high the ball actual bounces. So that would be the thing that I'm going to measure. Now, what would be my control variables in this case? My control variables would be how high do I drop the ball from, right? Where do I drop the ball? Is it in the classroom? Is it on carpet? Is it in the basketball gym? Like, where am I dropping it? Also, right, that I should keep the basketball the same. So all of these kind of things would be controls, right? Or if I dropped it on the blacktop, again, that would again be a control. So these are things that you want to make sure that you keep the same each time. Now, how many times should I drop the ball? What do you guys think? So hopefully you say maybe at least 3 times, maybe like 5 times. That way I can kind of get an accurate reading of what is going on. Okay. So this is what I want you guys to do, is to pause the screen and see if you can get the independent, dependent, and control variables for this question here, which does red light affect plant growth? Again, does red light affect plant growth? What is the independent variable? What is the dependent variable? What is the control variables? Again, pause the screen and see if you can get that in there. Now, this is what's important, is that you try. So if you didn't really just right now pause the screen and then try to figure this out, then please do that right now. It is important that you try. I don't care whether you actually get it right up front. I care whether you get it right in the end. But part of growing and learning is that you're trying to actually comprehend and not just waiting for answers. So again, if you haven't done that, pause the screen and then handle that business. All right. We are moving forward. So the independent variable in this case is, does a red light affect the plant growth? Well, the independent variable is going to be the light color. So we could select yellow or red, or we could have went with yellow, red, blue, or yellow, red, blue, green. Like we could have changed all those different light colors. The dependent variable, the thing we're going to measure, which would be the easiest, is going to be plant height. You might go with plant width, right? Like if you got like a bush or something that's growing out like that and it's not something that necessarily grows up. So you could measure plant height. Control variables, these are just some, but there's a lot. It could be water and how much water, what time of day are you watering, what type of water, so you want to keep that the same. Keep the soil type the same, keep the temperature the same. When is day and night? So how much dark time does it have? How much light time does it have? When does that occur? So all of those things you would want to keep the same. Someone also said temperature. That's also another good one. So we're going to look at something called data tables real quick and just see how we would get this information into the data table. So here we go. So this would be a very basic data table. So types of light, so sunlight and the red light, and then the plant height. Now they measured after 2 weeks. However, I wouldn't measure after 2 weeks. What I would do is something more like this one, which is the effects of red light on plant height. That's a very good name. It's very straightforward. Plant height, and then we also have the weeks labeled out, and it looks like we measured each week. Sunlight, red light, right? And then now we have these over here. So it looks like 6 to 7, ooh, 12 to 14, and then 18 to 21. So it looks like red light is producing 1 more centimeter of growth per week. And over 3 weeks, now that gives you an extra 3 centimeters of growth. So that could make a big difference if you're a farmer, because that could expedite the time in which you can get to harvest. So these are just things to be thinking about, right, as a person, and how you would now take that data and then apply it to something in the real world. Okay, cool. So we talked through all that, so we're going to jump back to just the independent and dependent variables. You know what? I'm not going to talk about this here. We can talk about that later. And so what I want you to do is open up the assignment. The instructions are all right here. I'm going to go over the very first one. So all you have to do is click in here. It is in modules right there. Boom. And remember, we are having that journal check tomorrow. So click that open. Boom. And then please read all the instructions, right? And there are actual instructions on the actual assignment. So if you look here, I have placed a few things in here. One, I've placed the notes in there that you should already have about what is an independent, dependent, and control variable. That way you have that. Also, here's everything. So practice. Read the information from each experiment and record the independent variable, the dependent variable, and then the control variables. Make sure to list as many control variables as possible. And then I'm just going to add in there, right, at least 3. Boom. There you go. Okay. At least 3. So give me that. Now, I have updated this assignment this year. So I added the instructions in Spanish and all of the actual, there's a Spanish translation right underneath for each one. Make sure to complete your work in English, right? All right. Now for this first one. Will an egg float higher in water with more salt? So what is the independent variable? What's the thing we can control? And then we will go like this, and hopefully you figure this out. Can we control whether the egg float or the amount of salt in the water? And hopefully you're at like amount of salt in the water. I don't know why I keep spelling amount with 2 M's. Apparently it only has 1. And then for the dependent variable, what is the thing we're going to measure? How high the egg floats. That's what we're going to measure. So we get to control how much salt is in there, but then we can, how high will the egg float, right? And then for the control variables, we could say water amount. Oh, that's 1 M. Water amount, water temperature. What else do we put? Oh, type of salt, because that also could make a difference. Oh, type of egg. Cool. Anything else? How about container? So we'll keep it in the same container type, right? So these would be things that we could say. So again, we've got to about 4 or 5 there. So again, you just need to make sure at least 3. All right, go ahead and complete the next 9 examples. There's about 10 of them in total. So just keep scrolling on down. Boom, boom, boom. There's about 10. All right, handle business. This is due tomorrow. And with that being said, let's just go to the last thing. You already know what it is. Well, maybe you don't, so we just started this one. Today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't. All right, y'all. Peace.